Greetings children, welcome back to the biology class. Welcome back to the second class of biology. Today we are going to learn the flower lesson, the second half. So within a 5 minute or within 5 minutes, we will do a recap of what are the things we learned in the last class. We learned the definition of a flower, and we learned what are the parts of a flower. We learned things in detail about calyx, corolla, sepal, petal, androecium, gynoecium, and we learned these terms, and I gave you these terms, what are the essential words and what are the non-essential words of a flower, and we learn about complete flower and incomplete flower. And in this picture I taught you about the perianth, also tepal, right? And then this is a bract, I said, and I taught you about petaloid sepal and sepaloid petal. I taught you about bract, right? And then I taught you about nectaries. I guess these are the topics that we have. I taught you last day, I taught you last video. So now in today's class, the topic that first we are going to learn is sexuality in flowers. Sexuality in flowers. Already in last video I taught you about androecium and gynoecium, right? So how to differentiate flowers based on the sex, right? So some flowers we can call them as bisexual flowers. Bisexual is an opposite of unisexual. You know this word unisexual already. In saloon and all you would have seen this unisex saloon, isn't it? So unisexual means just only one sex. It contains, there is a controversy, yes, you have to accept. Unisexual means a flower which possesses either stamen or carpel. The word you know, but the meaning is new, right? So it contains either stamen or carpel. Unisexual flowers contain either stamen or carpel. That means that can either be a male flower or a female flower. Okay, it can be either male flower or a female flower. So unisexual flowers or bisexual flowers can otherwise be unisexual flowers can otherwise be termed as incomplete flower or imperfect flower. Incomplete flower, already I taught you about the imperfect flower, in terms, right? Incomplete and complete flower, remember this? Incomplete flower means one or more whorls of a flower is absent. The same only, it's repeated here. Incomplete or imperfect flower that can either be pistillate flower. A pistil or carpel is the female part. So a female flower we can call that as pistillate flower. Or if it is having only androecium, you can call that flower as a staminate flower. Staminate flower, that is male flower. Okay, so this is about unisexual flower. What about bisexual? Bi means two. Uni means one, bi means two. So two sex organs are present in this kind of flowers. So bisexual flower means they contain both stamen and carpel. You can see both male and female part in that flower. So that is bisexual flower. There is another word for bisexual flower, that is hermaphrodite. Note down this word, you just know the spelling. You have to learn the spelling of this word hermaphrodite. This is a common word. Sometimes even for animals you can say this word hermaphrodites if they possess both the sex organs. One such best example is earthworm. Earthworm is a hermaphrodite animal. Okay, earthworm is a hermaphrodite animal. That means it has both male and female sex organ in one animal. So that is hermaphrodite. Bisexual or hermaphrodite. So all the bisexual flowers you can call that as hermaphrodite flowers. Okay, so this word is literally a common word for bisexual animals. Generally people used to say this hermaphrodite word. Bisexual or hermaphrodite are giving the same meaning. So example for this bisexual is most of the flower that you can see around, like hibiscus, as like we love to go with hibiscus because it's very common. And you can say rose, you can say sunflower, you can say jasmine. Almost most of these flowers comes under this bisexual category. Now in unisexual there are few examples because generally flowers are bisexual. So there are few examples that you can see. Here palm and papaya are the best known example for unisexual flowers. Palm flower and papaya flower. Okay, unisexual flower are found in palm and papaya. Okay, so what are the terms now we are learning? Bisexual flower or a hermaphrodite flower. An example, what is a complete flower or what is a perfect flower? What is a complete flower? A flower which possesses all four whorls. It's already discussed one, already taught one. And what is a perfect flower? A flower which possesses all four whorls is called as a perfect flower. Now what is a unisexual flower? A flower which possesses only one sex organ in it. It can either be stamen or carpel. Right? What is an incomplete flower? A flower which possesses only a flower which lacks one or more part, one or more whorls is called as an incomplete flower. Or the same way, imperfect flower. So here we are based on sex we are classifying. So the male flower is called as a staminate and the female flower is called as the pistillate or carpellate. So how can you define pistillate flower? A flower which possesses only gynoecium as its essential whorl. A flower which possesses only gynoecium as its essential whorl. Okay, a flower which possesses only gynoecium as its essential whorl is a pistillate flower. Why I am focusing it as essential whorl? It may have both calyx and corolla or it may have only the perianth. Okay, that doesn't matter. Pistillate flower means a flower which possesses only gynoecium apart from the non-essential whorls. We are not talking about non-essential whorls in this context. Okay, so this is a male flower and female flower category, and in palm and papaya you can see male and female flowers very separately in separate trees. Okay, that we will discuss again later. And one more category is there, that is neuter flower. This is also the same thing. And one more category is there, that is neuter flower. So what is a neuter flower? A neuter flower is a flower which doesn't have any reproductive part. Which doesn't have any reproductive part. Okay, here a neuter flower is a flower which don't have a stamen or carpel. What do they possess then? Only the non-essential whorls. Okay, only the non-essential whorl will be there. They don't have any stamen or carpel. That is neuter flower. Best known example for neuter flower is the ray floweret of a sunflower. For this I need to go a little in detail. Here this is a sunflower, right? So in a sunflower you can see this outer thing. This I will tell you a secret. A sunflower is not a single flower. This is a group of flowers. Okay, nobody knows that generally. Much of the people doesn't know that. They used to think that sunflower is one single flower, but it's not like that. Sunflower is actually a one bunch of flower. Okay, this is just a secret. Only those who know biology know that, or those who know about flowers know that. So you can say that in a proud way that sunflower is not a single flower, it's a group of flower. You can say that in a proud way to your younger people, that this is a new knowledge, right? I'll tell you why. This thing, no, this outer one, somewhat like a petal, this is not a petal. Now today if there is a chance, if you are having a sunflower or a sunflower sort of flower around your house, in your garden, you just take one flower. Don't go out of your home. You just, if it is available in your garden, you just go pluck one flower and check that this petal sort of thing is actually one single flower. You can take it out, one single thing separately you can take it out. This, it would be like this. Okay, so here you can see the ovary part of that flower, and this is the corolla, which is composed of 5 petals. Okay, which is composed of 5 petals. It looks like one long tongue like thing, but it's actually made of 5 petals. And here you can see one hairy structure. That hairy structure is the calyx in that flower. And in the middle part you can have these sort of flowers. Okay, in the middle, this one somewhat like a brownish part or a darker color part it would be. Here it is composed of this kind of flowers. So in a group of this sunflower florets, cutie flowers, okay, florets. In this florets you can have a number of this flowers and some number of this flowers. Okay, so you can have like around 50 to 70 this flowers would be there in this middle part. This is known as disc floret that you can see in this region, and the outer peripheral region is composed of ray florets. Okay, so disc florets would be in this part, and ray florets, why they are calling it as florets is the miniature of flower. Okay, the unit of flower is florets. The unit of flower is called floret. It looks like one single flower, but it's not a single flower, it's a group of flower. And this disc floret have both the sex organs, that's why the seeds are present in this middle part. Okay, in sunflower, you just ask your parents, you just ask anyone, any elder in your family, they will tell you that the seeds would be available in the middle part where the disc florets are present. On the peripheral part there won't be any seeds. Okay, the reason is the peripheral part is composed of ray floret. Ray florets are neuter flower. Neuter flower means they don't have any sex organ in it, so you can't differentiate the sex part in that flower. But the neuter flowers used to possess stigma, and style would be there, and ovary sort of structure will also be there, but they will never produce any ovule. They are not fertile, they are actually sterile. Okay, sterile means they are that's the opposite of fertile. You know the meaning of the word fertile, right? They can produce young one, that is what the word fertile means. The opposite word is sterile. So the ray florets of sunflower is sterile in nature. Okay, so in sexuality we learn three different things, that is bisexual, unisexual, and neuter flowers with its examples. Bisexual hibiscus, mango, neem; unisexual flower palm and papaya; and then in neuter flower ray florets of sunflower. This gives the complete meaning. Don't write simply as ray sunflower, that is wrong, because sunflower has both disc and ray floret. Disc floret is fertile, disc floret will produce seeds, it's very fertile, and ray florets are the only example for neuter flowers. Okay, the next one we are going into the floral description. Okay, already a little bit I taught you about calyx, about corolla. We are going to learn a little more. Okay, so the general description part we are going to learn some terms. So here, what is a calyx? You already know what is a calyx, isn't it? A calyx is the green basal part or the first whorl of a flower. This calyx, even in last video I told you that you can take it out in hibiscus as like one single whorl, right? So the calyx is composed of sepal, and the sepals may be free or fused. Here the sepals are fused, that's why you can take it out as like one single crown. Here the sepals are free, right? Here the sepals are free in rows. So this is separate and this is united. So if the calyx is composed of united sepal, we need to call it as gamosepalous. Okay, we need to call it as gamosepalous. Yeah, we can continue. Right, so the calyx can either be free, which is composed of free sepal, or the calyx may be composed of united sepals. So if they are composed of united sepals, they are termed as gamosepalous, and if the sepals are composed of, if the sepals are like free, if the calyx are composed of free sepals, then they are termed as polysepalous. So gamosepalous means the calyx which is composed of united sepals. So if a calyx is defined as polysepalous, then the sepals in that calyx is free. Okay, split the word to know the meaning. Gamo or gamete, or gamo stands for union, poly stands for free. Poly means numerous actually. So numerous free sepals are there. Here it is united sepals, so they are known as gamosepalous, and here it is polysepalous. And the next thing is about epicalyx. In calyx, one more special thing is there, that is epicalyx. Epi means outer. So epicalyx means it's an extra outer whorl of calyx. It is an outer whorl of calyx which is found outside the calyx. So that is epicalyx. That epicalyx you can't see in all the flowers. You can see only in very few flowers, especially in the Malvaceae members you can see. Malvaceae members means it's the family of hibiscus. So you can see that in hibiscus, you can see that in lady's finger, you can see in that group of family members. So Malvaceae members, you can see this epicalyx. It's a very unique feature of Malvaceae members. This will be helpful in your competitive exam. This Malvaceae word will be helpful in your competitive exams. So epicalyx means calyx which is composed of outer to the calyx, outer to the real calyx. There is second outer wall of calyx is in epicalyx, right? That number may vary, but in hibiscus you can see that this is a kind of that abutilon. Okay, this is a Malvaceae member. So here you can see epicalyx. This member may be number may be varying. Some plant or in some species you can see nearly some 5, or in hibiscus itself sometimes in one flower you can see 7 and in another flower you can see 8. So the number may vary. It will be from 5 to 8. Some flowers may be having 5, some flowers may be having 8. So it depends. Okay, from flower to flower it will vary. And one more last thing, that is petaloid sepal. Already in last class I taught you about that. Can you get the meaning now? What is petaloid sepal? Well, I taught you how to get the meaning. Petal like sepal is called petaloid sepal. Okay, if those who remember that, those who said that, appreciate yourself because you are doing good. Petaloid sepal means petal like sepal. So petal like sepal you can see in Gulmohar flower. It's just one example. There are a lot more other flower plants too, but only one example you are learning. That is Gulmohar. This is Gulmohar. You would have seen this. We have this tree around us. So this Gulmohar is flame of forest. It will be completely flowering in red, and all these red flowers would sometimes fall on the floor. We have a kind of yellow, that is Dalbergia. Dalbergia also, I guess it's coming in a Malvaceae member. I'm not very sure. So what we have in our campus, that yellow flowers falling off everywhere, especially near the vehicle shed. That is another one, Dalbergia. This will also give a same sort of look, but this is Gulmohar. This is yes, come back. So this yellow plant what we have in our campus is actually it is Dalbergia. This is flame of forest is Delonix. Okay, that is the scientific name of those plants. These two comes under same family. These two comes under Fabaceae family, not Malvaceae. Okay, these two comes under same family. Right. So this is Gulmohar or flame of the forest plant. This shows petaloid sepal. Okay, this shows petaloid sepal. So in floral description, the first part we are learning about calyx. So in calyx, you could see the sepals may be gamosepalous. That means the sepals are united, or the sepals may be polysepalous. There the sepals are free. And then we have one more extra whorl of calyx outer to the calyx, that is known as epicalyx. We can't see epicalyx in all the flowers, but we can see this epicalyx in only some members of plants. That comes under a group called Malvaceae. You can mention that as in hibiscus family too. Next is about petaloid sepal. In some of the plants, the sepal looks exactly like petal. That means the sepal becomes very colorful, attractive, and such an example for such an adaptation, one best example is Gulmohar. What is Gulmohar? Is flame of forest. Okay, so this is about the floral description of calyx. Now we are going to learn about the floral description of corolla. Remember the points that we have learned in floral description of calyx. There is gamosepalous or polysepalous. As like the same, here we are going to discuss about gamopetalous and polypetalous. Okay, gamopetalous means the petals are united. Know the spelling? Gamo, G-A-M-O. Petalous is P-E-T-A-L-O-U-S. P-E-T-A-L-O-U-S. Gamopetalous. This is polypetalous. Right? Rose is also an example for polypetalous. Understood the meaning now? Polypetalous means the petals are completely free. You can take out each and every petal separately. Now this is gamopetalous. All the petals are united, forms one trumpet shaped structure. So that is gamopetalous. So in petal floral description you are learning this too. And the next floral description part is about androecium. Androecium consists of anther and filament, isn't it? Remember that? In parts of flower I taught you this. So this is composed of anther and filament, and together we are calling this one single unit as a stamen. So a stamen is composed of an anther and a filament. And now we are going to learn few terms based on cohesion of stamen. Cohesion means how do they attach each other. Okay, how do they get attached with each other. That is cohesion of stamen. Cohesion of stamen is very helpful in classifying the stamen type. So there are 3 different types that you are learning. There are so many different types, nearly some 6 or 7 types are there, but you are learning only 3 in your syllabus. For 9th standard, only 3 is there. So only 3 types are there. So the first one is monadelphous. Mono means 1. Adelphous always means bundle. Okay, so monadelphous means all the stamen in a flower combine together to form one bundle of stamen. Got that? All the stamen found in a flower. Androecium of a flower is composed of numerous stamens. So all the stamen in a flower is combined together, it's joined together to form one bundle. That is monoadelphous or monadelphous. Okay, so monadelphous stamen, the best known example for monadelphous stamens is our very favorable hibiscus. Right, the hibiscus shows all the stamens are combined together, that is forming only one bundle. You can see that it's composed of one bundle and all the filaments are joined together. Filament. Remember what is filament? This part is filament. Okay, so here in monadelphous stamen, all these filaments will combine together. They forms one common stalk-like thing, and then the stamen is separated. So this is monadelphous stamen. You can see that monadelphous stamen in hibiscus members. Okay, the next type is diadelphous stamen. What is the meaning of the word adelphous? Just now I said that. Very good, that is bundle. Okay, so diadelphous means bundle. Di for 2, adelphous means bundle. So here it is formed of 2 bundle. Androecium is composed of 2 bundle of stamens. Okay, so here this is a best known example for diadelphous stamen is found in Fabaceae members, Fabaceae or Pisum. Okay, what is Pisum? It is green pea. Okay, this example is from green pea. So diadelphous means here the bundle is composed of 2 group of stamen. In green pea flower, you can see this is green pea flower. You can see 2 bundle, but the bundle is composed of 9 stamen together forms one bundle. This is actually tone of structure. When it is really found in a flower, this will be forming a tube sort of structure. This will form a tube like structure. It's been torn off to show you that clearly. So here you can count, it would be 9. Shall we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 1 here. Just a little bit lower. So 9 stamen would be here in this, and only one will be found very separate, forms another bundle. Okay, this is a single thing bundle. So that is 9 plus 1, that totally that forms 2 bundle of stamen. So that is diadelphous stamen. What is the example for diadelphous stamen? Green pea flower. Okay, pea flower or Pisum, P-I-S-U-M. That is the scientific name for green pea. P-I-S-U-M, Pisum. Okay, so monadelphous, the stamen or the androecium is composed of one bundle of stamen. Example hibiscus. Diadelphous, the androecium is composed of 2 bundles of stamen. Example pea flower or Pisum flower. And then the next one, it is polyadelphous. Tell me the meaning. You can write the definition by yourself, I guess. What is polyadelphous? Already I taught you what is poly. Remember what is poly? Free. Very good. Those who said it's very good. Polyadelphous. Adelphous means bundle. So here all the stamen combine together forming number of bundles there. The stamen forms numerous bundles of, the androecium is composed of numerous bundles of stamen, that is polyadelphous. You can see this polyadelphous in kind of plants, like you can see that in curry leaf. Okay, you can see polyadelphous stamen in curry leaf, but the example that is given in your book is bombax. You know what is bombax? Bombax is bamboo. Yeah, bombax is bamboo only. Right, so these are the three different types. So you should know the meaning of this term based on your syllabus. You should know the meaning of the term and the example and how to define that also you have to learn. Right, so this is what about the stamen. And then the next floral description is about the gynoecium. So what are the topics, what are the terms that we are going to learn in gynoecium is, I already taught you about what is a stigma. This is stigma, this part of the gynoecium is stigma. Yeah, I'll tell you what is the function of this stigma. Maybe I was just thinking whether I taught you in the last class. It shouldn't be a repetition, otherwise it would be so boring. That's why I was thinking about that. Let me go with that. If I have already taught you about this, or if I already said about that, you just forgive me. I don't know what it was before a week, right? So you can listen to me again. So this is stigma. So this stigma is actually the receptive part of a female flower. Okay, receptive part means the main function of this stigma is to collect pollen. Okay, when pollen grain is released from the anther, this is the anther, right? So this anther, when it bursts open, it will be spreading out the pollen everywhere. The dust of pollen will be here in this entire region. So that pollen grain will fall onto this. It shouldn't be blown away again by the wind current. It has to be stuck onto that place. So that purpose is being done by the stigma. Stigma will always be very receptive. It will be always be very sticky, or it will be having some adaptation to hold the pollen grain in that particular part. Okay, so that is what the function of stigma. Stigma is the receptive part of pollen, and style is the connective part, which is connecting the pollen landing area, and also pollen has to work in this ovule region, ovary region. So this is just a connective part which allows the movement of pollen into this part. Yeah, for your class it's enough, movement of pollen. Maybe those who are there, like those who know the process of fertilization, may be thinking that pollen is not going to move, but the parts of pollen will move down. So style is the connective part. And then the next part is ovary. Here in ovary, internally you can see ovule in this. Ovule is the real egg, female egg, that would be found in this part. That number may vary, like some plants may have only one ovule. Ovule, I am talking about the egg, ovule. Some plants may have only one ovule, and some plants may have numerous ovule in it. So the ovules number may vary, right? So this is ovary part, which will be having the ovules, and this is the style part. Style is a tubular stalk which connects the stigma with the ovary. That is the only function. And then stigma is the terminal part, which is receptive in function, which will be collecting the pollen grain, which will be serving as the landing place for the pollen grain. And then you are going to learn about placenta. Placenta I'll tell you a little later, after 2 slides, yeah, because I have it there. Right, the next one is about inflorescence. This is the next term that you need to learn. Here you need to learn the definition of these terms. We don't want to go very deep into it. So the next thing, the definition we are going to learn about is inflorescence. So what is an inflorescence? By this picture you can understand that I am going to tell about some group of flowers, right? So inflorescence doesn't mean anything else, it's just group of flowers only. Group of flowers which are found in a common stalk. Is called inflorescence. Just know the definition. What is inflorescence? Group of flowers which are found in a common stalk is a inflorescence. Okay, I told you that sunflower is a group of flower. So sunflower is actually an inflorescence, not a flower. So this is inflorescence, and we are calling one single unit of an inflorescence as floret. Remember, in sunflower I said that ray floret and disc floret. So floret is the unit of inflorescence. What is inflorescence? A group of flower which is found on a common stalk. Okay, that is inflorescence. You can see this even in mango. You can see this in orchid. You can see a lot of plants produce inflorescence. Mango, neem. Just now we saw that flame of forest. What is that? Delonix. What is that? Gulmohar. Right? So this is an inflorescence which is found on a common stalk. Okay. So yeah, that inflorescence. And then sexuality in plants. I guess most of you don't have a book with you. If you have a book, you can see that it's not a continuous kind of information. They are giving all this information in small boxes. Okay, the lesson is going to get over, so these small boxes are having some tidbits of information. That's what I'm making it separately. So this is sexuality in plants. Already in previous thing I taught you about sexuality in flowers. This is sexuality in plant, the entire plant. You can see bisexual plant and unisexual plant. Now the example like bisexual plant is a plant which has male female flowers in it. Maybe you just understand that bisexual plant means that entire plant is a bisexual plant. It may have male flower, female flower, or a bisexual flower. Right? Can you understand what I am saying? A plant which possesses male flower, female flower, or bisexual flower, male flower and female flower, or a bisexual flower is termed as bisexual plant. Okay, so bisexual plant is otherwise termed as monoecious plants. Monoecious means same home, that is the meaning. Mono means single, ecious, this word is from home. Monoecious means single home. So in a single home you can see father and mother, you can see both the sexes there. So monoecious is a plant which possesses both the sexes there. Okay, they can be there separately or they can be there together in a flower. Okay, that doesn't matter. But if a plant is able to produce male and female sex organ, if a plant is able to produce male and female flowers together or individually, that plant is termed as monoecious plant. Now let me go with another topic, that is unisexual plant. If you understood this will also be very clear. Unisexual plant means, already I told you that unisex is for single sex. So this plant will be having only one sex organ in it, only one sex part in it. Palm and papaya. Remember that palm and papaya. So this palm and papaya, you would have heard about papaya. Papaya male and female tree are very separate. Papaya male tree and papaya female tree are separate. Only while they grow up, only when they start to produce their own flowers, people used to identify that is a male flower or a female plant. If it is a male plant, they will chop off because it won't produce any fruits that as we like to. Okay, and then only the female plant will be producing fruits, as like the same in palm. Only the female will be producing fruit, not the male one. So people used to chop off the male after that produces the flower. Okay, once I saw a question in competitive exam in NSTSC or in NSO question, I saw this. Even if you don't have male papaya around your home, the female papaya used to produce fruits. How? Okay, you just find out answer by yourself and tell me that answer. I know the answer, okay, but you just go work on with that. I know the answer. I will tell you in the next video. I will tell you about this answer. Generally, male and female may not be found together. Okay, in my home only female papaya is there. Male papaya was there before some days, and I was the one chop off the male tree. After it produces the inflorescence, I found it out that it's having only androecium, and there is no gynoecium in it. I got okay, it won't be producing any fruit. And then I chop off the tree, and later female papaya was female papaya was growing, and I saw the flower. It is female, and then it's alive there. Okay, so even if it is not having any male plant nearby, it's producing fruits there. Okay, so you need to tell me how is that possible, how, from where they are receiving the pollen. Some of you are screaming the answer, some of you are shouting the answer. I could feel that you are saying the answer. You know that. Okay, just think about that. You know that. So that is unisexual plant. Papaya is an unisexual plant. So The another term for unisexual plant is dioecious. Di means two home. Dioecious means they are separates. There the houses are separates. Okay, so male is in a house and female is in a separate house. Dioecious. Children, you may feel that this is a little confusing. Monoecious means in a home all the people are there living together. Okay, both the sexes are there. That is bisexual in nature. Dioecious means the houses are separate. That is what the term. Okay, so know this very clearly. Usually people used to confuse this. People used to shuffle the answer in this part. And the next one, as I said a little before, that is placentation. Right? What is placenta? You would have heard this word placenta. In human also we have placenta in human. Like when a newborn baby is there, placenta is there. Right? So what is placenta? Placenta is a connective tissue. Okay, just write it, note it down. Placenta is a connective tissue which will be connecting the young one with the mother, the ovule with the ovary. Ovary is the mother part and ovule is the young one part, baby part. So baby and mother, this is baby and this is mother. So baby and mother is being connected by a kind of tissue. Can you see here one differently colored tissue in this part especially? This is placenta. Okay, this part. So this is placenta and this is the seed. Actually seed is after fertilization, seed is ovule will turn into seed. Okay, so this is cucumber. Have you ever seen this cucumber like this? Yes, isn't it? Oh, so you just after this video you just get into your kitchen, take a cucumber, cut and view it clearly by yourself. This is placenta and this is like umbilical cord, what we can see in babies. Okay, that umbilical cord is the connecting tube which is connecting this is a baby. Okay, this is the baby plant where the baby plant is sleeping inside, and this is the umbilical cord sort of thing which is a connective tissue. Okay, this is actually in plants we call this as funicle. So this is the connective part and this is placenta. Okay, so placentation is arrangement of placenta. Placenta is connective tissue. So what are the two parts that is connecting is ovule and ovary. Okay, right? Okay, so in floral description here only I said about placenta. So this is stigma, this is style and this is ovary, and ovary is connected, ovary is holding the ovule in it, or ovary possesses the ovule in it, and the ovule is connected with ovary with the help of placenta. Okay, and now I taught you about what is placenta too. Right, this is placenta. Okay, so what are the things we have studied today, we have discussed today? The first thing is about sexuality in plant. Right, this is the first thing we learned. Bisexual and unisexual flowers are there, and then we learned the examples for bisexual and unisexual flowers, and this is neuter flower, which is the ray floret of sunflower is this example. And then we went into floral description. This two term you need to learn, Gamosepalous, Polysepalous, Gamosepalous and Polysepalous. And then in sepals you are learning about one more thing, that is epicalyx and petaloid sepal. Gulmohar is the example. And then corolla, this is polypetalous and this is gamopetalous, and this is androecium. That's what is stamen and anther and filament. Monadelphous stamen, diadelphous stamen, polyadelphous stamen, which is based on cohesion of stamen. This word is very important, cohesion of stamen. We are categorizing these three. And then this is about a gynoecium part, already studied thing only. And then what is an inflorescence or define inflorescence? Inflorescence is a group of flower which is having a common stalk. Example, mango, orchid. And then sexuality in plant. Bisexual plant means a plant which possesses both the sexes together, and unisexual plant means a plant which possesses either male or female part in it. Okay, so monoecious plant means bisexual plant, dioecious plant means unisexual plant. Example the same only, this is mango, hibiscus, etc., etc., and this is palm and papaya. And then placenta, What is placenta? Placenta is a connective tissue which will be connecting ovule with its ovary, and placentation is arrangement of placenta, right? So this lesson 4 gets complete. I know you don't have book. If you are really in need of a book, you just message me. I don't have book with me, so I got pictures from your seniors, so I will be posting that pictures what I am having in classroom. So if you need that, you just message me in classroom. I'll post it. I will attach it as a material in classroom. Only if you need that, I'll do that. And get my number from some people may have my number. If you are having any doubt, you just message me in classroom, or else get my number from the people, and or your teachers, or from your previous class teachers. They may have my number. They used to have they are having my number. They will be giving it to you. Okay, you just tell them that I said okay to share my number. So you can get my number from your teachers and then contact me. I can send it to you through WhatsApp. Okay, so go ahead. Your lesson 4, the flowers, is complete. Go ahead, and we will be having test in the next week or this week itself. We'll be having a test in this entire lesson. You don't have anything extra without like I didn't leave any even a single sentence. I didn't leave. So you have to go through this entire notes again and again. You will be revising that, or you have to revise it. You will not be even leaving one single line from your book. So you please go with that. It be useful for you, so you can write your test very good. So that's it. You just go with your portions in a proper way and be serious in learning. And one more thing, it's a kind advice, or it's a kind request from my side. Please stay in your home. Don't go out. Even to your neighbors, even to your people, those who are just near your home, please don't go out and don't talk to them. It's getting very worse now, the conditions are. So please stay inside the home and go with your work and learn something new every time through using YouTube or something. You just learn something. You can learn cooking, you can learn art, you can learn painting, you can learn something that you are interested. You can do some creative things. Okay, there is a lot more to do inside your home. You are being safe inside your home, right? So stay safe and be good. Okay, thank you, kids. And I just love to hear that. I love to see you all back. Okay, we love to go to school. We love to meet each of you. So you please stay at home, stay safe. Thank you, kids.